Bodybuilding for fighters, it's called the repetition method, or better known as the repeated effort method. It's not what you may think. It is a science, but knowing how to incorporate it for a fighter makes all the difference in the world. How you doing? My name is Joe Rossi from the YESS Training Barbell Club. We are a professional strength conditioning and skill gym for fighters, and we pride ourselves on being the real-life Rocky Balboa gym. Bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger, reps, sets, getting a pump. It does serve a purpose for a fighter. For example, the repeated effort method is really a science based off of using a submaximal weight up to about 50% of a 1 rep max and choosing an exercise with that 50% and getting as many reps as you can, going to failure, to complete exhaustion. It serves many purposes, from recruiting more motor units within your body, within your muscles, but it creates something called hypertrophy, breakdown. It recruits the greatest amount of muscle in reference to sacroplasmic hypertrophy. And how that benefits a fighter comes down to one word: development. You want to be developed, right? An athlete needs all their muscle groups working together as synchronized, and all those muscle groups need to be as strong as they could possibly be in order to perform at the highest level. Well, what do you do when you have a weak, lagging muscle group? Do you just throw on a shitload of weight on the bar and hope for the best? That's not smart. But what you can do, and you can do this with a beginner, is you could start off with just a body weight exercise. And you can use a body weight exercise and really perform that body weight exercise and get as many reps as you possibly can. That's a start. And then you could go from there and add some weight, eventually performing what is truly known as the repeated effort method, using a submaximal weight up to 50% to complete exhaustion. But at least you have a base to start off of, body weight, and you can eventually plug in external load resistance, bands, barbells, dumbbells, pull-ups, push-ups, whatever you're capable of doing. But the goal is to hypertrophy the muscle, to bodybuild the muscle, to develop the muscle so it is no longer underdeveloped. Now it is developed and it's working with the other muscle groups, because quite frankly, an underdeveloped muscle group that I see on most fighters is their spinal erectors, is their external rotator cuff muscles, right? It's just a fighting posture. You're internally rotated at the shoulder. You're slouched over like an old man walking with a cane, right? Because you make yourself look like less of a target. Plus, we tend to train all the muscles we see in the mirror. So, how do we bring balance? How do we bodybuild these muscle groups? And these are just examples, but we can use any muscle group, and you can, throw that into this conversation. But for the sake of creating an example, we'll talk about those external rotator cuff muscles. We'll talk about those spinal erectors, the muscles that go along your spine that are responsible for extending your spine, as opposed to the abdominals that flex your spine, as opposed to your internal rotator cuff muscles and your internal rotators like the pecs, the lats, and your internal rotator cuff muscles right of the shoulder. So you just have to bodybuild those muscle groups. Use a submaximal weight, 45-degree back raise, spinal erectors, go to failure, get as many reps as you can. You can use body weight, or you can use resistance. That's the repeated effort method, and that will bring balance to the overall. I tend to use the repeated effort method more for smaller muscle groups and exercises like a 45-degree back raise and whatnot, than with squats or deadlifts or the bigger muscle groups, because it is hypertrophy, and many fighters, especially men, when we hypertrophy muscles, we grow. And when you're in a weight class, that's the last thing you want to do, is hypertrophy your body, especially the bigger muscle groups, in a way that you're going and growing out of your weight class, right? So you have to make sure you program that the right way. Now, the rotator cuff, I know we talked about that, but again, the rotator cuff, internal rotation happens when you throw punches. When your arm is fully extended in a punch, you are internally rotated, usually at the shoulder, if you're doing it right. So to use bodybuilding as a way to bring balance to your external rotator cuff muscles, your supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, subscapularis, right? Those muscle groups, you want to choose an exercise and perform that exercise and bodybuild that exercise in many ways. And one of those is to get as many reps as you can until you exhaust the muscle. Repeated effort method. That's the science, right? That's the science behind using bodybuilding type philosophies in order to develop a fighter for better punches. Now that's the light and darkness. Sacrifice for reward is the YESS Training Barbell Club. My name is Joe Rossi, home to the real life. I invite all those who want to learn more about us and myself, check out www.yessbarbell.com. Thanks very much.